ADA, we start with 1 hour chart. Okay, first of all, we refer to our analysis in my last video. If we refer to our analysis when the price was within this move, we mentioned we're looking for the breakout of this. And this is the where we point on it. And the first one when break, then when the price was within this move, we mentioned any sell will be a short-term sell because we're looking for the reversal or the correction. And this is what we get. And one more thing we were mentioning that when we get the breakout, that if we look at the indicators, we don't have a divergence. Again, sorry, not this, MACD. Again, divergence help us just not is not giving us a signal, just help us for our analysis. That's why when it comes to this, we get the price was within this move after the breakout. We mentioned we have two options, reversal or turn to a bigger correction, because when we don't have a divergence, maybe we expect this one give a correction for one drop. All right, that's why we point on this. Okay, and now the things is, first of all, we're looking for the reversal. We mentioned if we get any sharp move, like we can look for buy. We had the opportunity here, but if we get the buy from here, we see it's not moving and turn to another down, a small flag. Okay, now the things is whether this is the start of the up move or this one can be relative to this for one more drop. And if we get one more drop, more easily the price can retest and test this one, which is almost one or break. Okay, because what we were expecting, we're expecting similar to what we have, sharp move, flag, continuation. But even as we can see, the price haven't broke this trend line. What I want to see that if we're going to look for buy, we should be aware of this flat for one more drop. Okay, now I want to see how we can trade it. And one more thing I want to point here, sometimes you can get the trade very risky, but at the very low price and based on lower time frame. Okay, usually we don't mention these things in analysis because when we are all live, we can trade it. For example, when we have this kind of the move, if we move to 15 minutes, okay, when we see, because as we can see based on 1 hour chart, price broke the previous low. And when we see this kind of the down move, especially here and especially here, okay, the best things was here. Because as we can see, the price is dropping, but this thing is losing the momentum. It's like we see the divergence, and we put this one in relative to this. We will see based on MACD we have a divergence, both of them as well here. Okay, when we will see both of them, I mean we want to look for this kind of the buy. Again, I mentioned based on 15 minute, or usually we look for 1 hour or lower time frame. We see both of them the divergence after the price drop as a week, but we explain based on this. Then when we see this kind of the correction, okay, usually when we have this kind of the correction, we expect the price to drop. Usually we look for sell, but when we have this kind of the situation, mostly we can risk to have entry above the top. As I mentioned, it's very risky. That's why we don't mention. This is the only things we can do live because sometimes the price can tag and draw reverse again. Okay, that's why when we see this kind of the correction, we see that like the price drop a bit, we can try to have entry a bit above this or a bit higher. Because what we want the sharp move. Why we want to take this even we say it is risky? Because as we can see, the stop loss can be below this. If it's move, it can give good trade. Even this one didn't move really fast. Sometimes we get the trade at the lowest price and we see the continuation. For example, if you have any trade from here, if this one continue, as I say, we had the trade. If this one continue, this is what we risk. And if we move to what we expect, at least we want a price to break the stop. Okay, at least to retest this one or here or here. This is what we risk. This is what we get. But as I say, this kind of the trade is really risky. That's why in analyzers we cannot mention. The only things we can look for when we're doing the trading. That's mean we trade online, because the reason is we cannot say, I mean, if we put these things, the risk is easily price can take and reverse. All right. Anyway, sometimes if traders, they see this kind of the move similar to ADA, they can look for this kind of the trade as well. But they should be aware of the risk. And one more, now we want to see how we can trade it. Now we are based on 15 minutes. As we can see, based on, even we mentioned based on 1 hour chart, we get the sharp move flag. We get this trade, but again, we get the small correction. What we expect. All right, as I mentioned, the way it's moving is not really sharp. No, we can expect this one as a correction for one more breakout of the top. Then may this one turn to a flag correction for one more drop or continuation. Okay, that's why if anyone wants to buy, the way it's moving is corrective. Maybe the price can break the top and drop. Okay, now we move to higher time frame. We want to see how what we have and how we can trade it. Okay, first of all, we start with daily chart. Just for those traders that are new. Okay, we have been within this down move. We have a correction similar any of this. We want to see whether this is the start of the up move or not. And if we move to forward chart, as we can see based on forward chart, we mentioned when the price was within this move, we mentioned we're looking for the price to break this low before we look for buy. The price broke, but what we get here is a reversal or not, as we see based on 1 hour chart. First of all, if we put this one as a if this is the only correction, that means this is the start of the up move. But again, based on forward chart, when we put this one in relative to this, if we move to the indicators, we don't see the divergence as well here. Exactly here as well. We don't have any divergence. Okay. And based on what I mentioned, based on 1 hour chart, still we can expect this one turn to a correction. Even we see there is no breakout for one more drop. We need to be aware of this. Still the price can drop to retest this trend line for the next move. Okay. And maybe we can expect, for example, if we put here, the price is if we get the what we are expecting, looking, the price can like drop to at 1. Okay, because at that times we will have this running flat 1 2 3. Okay, now the question is whether we're going to get one more drop or this is the start of the up move based on all the information also we have here. Okay, because if this one was only correction ABC, at least if we have a divergence we can confirm. In this case we move to 1 hour chart. All right, even based on 1 hour chart we explained earlier. Okay, and even we explained this one can turn to one more breakout for next move down. For sure, if this one happen, then we can confirm we had this correction move and finish, and any reversal we can look for buy. It can give us a better confirmation. But how about if the price continue from here? The first option, continuation, correction above the trend line, we look for buy. The second option, if we want to having entry above the top, having here is very risky. Tag and reverse because I explained. That's why we prefer to have above this top, above here, which is almost 1.277. All right, because in case the price continues sharply, we didn't get any trade here, we can catch the trade. But we want the price to tag and continue. If it's tag and we see within 1 or 2 hours it's not moving, we don't stay with the trade, we take out the trade. Okay, made the correction we're looking is this, even similar to what we have here, can break out and retest. Sometimes we cannot rely on this trend line. It's just indication to help us how to trade. Okay, but if breakout, the correction can give us a better confirmation, and this is the second option. And if you want to look for sell, if you get one move up, the breakout of this, any reversal with a flag, you can look for sell, and we consider as a short-term sell. With the breakout of this low, we start to manage. And if the price drop, we didn't get the trade, trade setup, having entry above this, prefer not to do it. Easily price can drop, come to 1 or a bit lower and reverse. May it happen. It doesn't mean 100% will happen. It may happen. This is based on what we think. And try to see which trade setup it will be safer for us to take. Okay, by the way, right now we're looking for this and we want to see how we can get a trade. If we get a buy, we will trade it. If we get a sell, if we want it depends on the traders, but we consider as a short term. But any break, if the price drop, any breakout of this one, we will see based on the indicators and everything, any reversal we take. And when we're talking about the reversal, for example, what we want, just to show example, we want a short move like continuation. And again, if there is a, like what we have here, if there is a second flag, we take it. But all right. Anyway, we just follow the chart and see how we can trade it. If I see any update, and any trade setup we can look for, I will update, and now we should look for this. May this one turn to a bigger correction for one more drop, for one more, the continuation of up move, if we see, also we can look for it. But right now, we explain how we can trade it and what we can expect. Anyway, if I see any update, I will share. Thanks.